Looking at into the rest of the evening could be the potential of some more showers and thunderstorms, which again might be on the strong to severe side. We do not see anything immediate, but we do have a new watch that has been issued across portions of the area, and that could be a bit of a situation coming up here for now. What we've got for tonight is very warm and muggy conditions, and going to continue to see the potential for more thunderstorms over the next several days. So if you have any plans for being outdoors, definitely want to keep an eye on what's going on there. We got the heat, we got the humidity, and we've got more chances of thunderstorms coming up. So be prepared for the possibility of more of the same straight on into the weekend and into the early portions of August in 2024. Not much, unfortunately, is going to be changing for us anytime soon. I'm Chief Meteorologist Austin Onek. This is Weather Overtime from downtown Chattanooga, Tennessee, and we're continuing again to monitor more potential for severe weather tomorrow. More on that in just a little bit. If you've never tuned in here before, this is our online video weather blog, your opportunity to take a look and listen as to what's going on with weather in and around the News 12 viewing area, which is southeast Tennessee, North Georgia, northeast Alabama, and extreme western areas of Tennessee, North Carolina. So if you've got any questions, please drop them into the chat function. We've got that working on Twitch and on YouTube, so stay tuned again for more on that. Let's go ahead and see if we have any good news in the Almanac page, starting things off really quickly. Again, no severe active weather right before 10 o'clock Eastern time. Officially, no rainfall at the airport. I find that kind of hard to believe because of the heavy rain that went through that area. Either way, we are now behind for the month by about 1.33 inches and just about 4.5 inches behind for the year, so we could definitely use a little bit more rainfall coming on through, but not going to be seeing any more for the next couple of hours. Chattanooga Theater Center starting to see some fog develop, at least a little bit of haze out there over the Tennessee River. The area around AT&T Field on the right-hand or left-hand side of our screen, that was the Lookouts game against the Pensacola Blue Wahoos was canceled tonight, postponed until tomorrow. So if you have any plans for attending, I believe your tickets are still going to be good into tomorrow, but please keep that in mind because of the fact that we had the potential for some problems out there. The tweet from earlier tonight, the game postponed due to rain and unplayable field conditions. Doubleheader tomorrow, the 31st, starting at 5:15 p.m. Both games will be 7 innings. Gates will open at 4:30 p.m. on Wednesday the 31st, the last day of the month. Tickets can be exchanged for any 2024 Lookouts regular season home game. You can email their website. That's available again on their function on their Twitter page there if you'd like to know more about that. Currently, again, downtown, we've got nothing going on. Let's check and see what traffic is looking like through I-24 downtown. A lot of folks out on the footbridge on the Speedy's Total Car Care camera. Traffic moving pretty well, very light through downtown on the Patriot Concrete camera for this evening. Traffic around 153 and 64. Kind of on the heavy side for this evening, but we're not seeing any major backups or problems with traveling around the area for right now. We do see, again, some slowdowns out there tonight. Please use caution because there could be branches and debris and trees on the roadways after what we saw earlier this evening. Traffic moving on the Tomahawk Crane and Rigging camera at 2475 just south of the airport, where we did have some pretty decent amounts of rainfall coming on through. Downtown on the Bailey's Heating and Air camera, looking back to the east-northeast, and some pretty calm conditions, although the breeze has picked up and a little bit out of the west-northwest, so we do have some indication of a breeze out there, but not helping to cool anybody off. 72 degrees, calm winds at the airport, and looking again at some pretty high humidity values, but dew point temperatures have sunk a little bit back in the mid to upper 60s, so good news again for now. What we had in the way of severe weather from earlier is gone. All the News 12 viewing area is no longer any severe weather threat at this point. However, in Franklin, Tennessee, we still have a severe thunderstorm watch, and that for most of the Cumberland Plateau, Middle Tennessee, Nashville, and back over to the Tennessee River to the east of Jackson, Tennessee. That goes until 2 o'clock Central Time. So for right now, Nothing major at this point, but we will see the potential for some more activity out there. And so far, again, that continues over for Coffee, Cannon, Rutherford, Maury, Williamson, Marshall, Lincoln, Giles, Tennessee, and back to around close to Hickman, Tennessee. So that's where we have the watch in effect at this time. Now, the good news for the time being is that the Storm Prediction Center does not appear to be looking to place another watch in effect for the area. At least that's the way it looks like so far. If my computer would give me control here, that would help out a little bit. Thank you. Okay, so we're getting very cantankerous here tonight. We may not have a show if this goes on. Unfortunately, we've got some issues to take care of. There we go. Okay, a mesoscale discussion is what is issued by the Storm Prediction Center to show what might be coming up in the semi-near future. But for right now, we don't have anything showing up for the time being, so some good news on that. But it is possible that we could see some more activity into the rest of tonight. I'm not saying it's impossible, but it doesn't look like too much of anything going on for the immediate future, so definitely some good news on that. And I'm not seeing anything else from the Storm Prediction Center at this time, so good news for now. So hopefully it'll stay that way for tonight. We do have other things to talk about. We'll get to that when it comes to alerts in just a little while. The big picture is looking like this, and again, stand by because this does take some time to get going. The wind arrows that you see on screen can sometimes slow down the data, especially when you're trying to edit something. So unfortunately, this still having some issues at this point. So hang on. Okay, here we go. For right now, again, the storms are up around Murfreesboro. We'll take a look at live radar coming up here in just a little bit. We've got plenty of moisture coming in from off the Gulf of Mexico with that area of high pressure and a dying stationary front, what used to be a front, now just a stretched out area of low pressure called a trough. That's down around Charlotte, Atlanta, and over toward Birmingham and Montgomery. What we have left over is really not all that much. We'll go to live analysis and show you that we have, again, some activity just to the north and west of the viewing area, but we do not have anything showing up in the way of warnings just past 10 o'clock for this evening. Northwest of McMinnville, storm that may contain some half-inch size hail up toward I-40. Likewise, less than half an inch size hail. Not as good as conditions for this one. Not seeing any major threat of tornadoes. We do have a severe thunderstorm watch and what looks to be a flash flood warning for portions of the area there, so that could be a bit of a situation around Murfreesboro between there and Shelbyville. Those storms moving to the east-southeast. Most of the strongest portion of the storm that was around Murfreesboro is, again, making its way over toward McMinnville, but that also has lost a lot of its punch. That, again, making its way over, I believe, if I'm not mistaken here. Okay, the watch, it looks like they added a couple of counties late, but it looks like for right now, no, that entire area with the severe thunderstorm watch for Cannon County, Rutherford, and around Coffee County, Tennessee, was added all at the same time. So far, again, just past 10 o'clock, no severe weather heading close to the area, so good news for us so far. Again, hopefully it stays that way. Low temperatures tonight will be dropping down only into the high 60s in the higher elevations and the lower to mid 70s elsewhere. Not good news as we see, again, hotter conditions heading through. We've got 2 counties in the News 12 viewing area that will be under heat advisories starting tomorrow and going through Wednesday into Thursday. DeKalb and Jackson counties in Alabama under a heat advisory until Thursday at 7 o'clock. No other counties in the News 12 viewing area are included in any heat advisories at this time. That could change. The expectation for northeastern Alabama is that we will see heat indexes of around 109 degrees in some areas. So that could be looking at some very ugly conditions for working or exercising outdoors. We also have the possibility of that heavy rain finally shifting to our east by just a little bit and not seeing as much in the way of a flash flooding issue, but we do have that potential potential of a marginal threat of flash flooding coming up on Friday. Nothing detected for Wednesday and nothing detected for Thursday, but for Friday, according to the maps, we may be looking at that coming back once again. We do have that hotter condition potential out there for the next several days. As we see the short-term forecast well above normal chances of some excessive heat. And as we go into the rest of the forecast for the next several days, the next month, in fact, which encompasses basically all of August, we'll be seeing hotter conditions setting up, especially over the Appalachians and the higher elevations. So that could be a lot of problems for outdoors. So please keep that in mind as we watch again for any potential problems from heat and humidity. Off to the tropics real quick. We have nothing immediately going on where we are located. There's about 2 or 3 disturbances left over in the eastern Pacific, all of which appear to be aiming for the central Pacific and maybe toward Hawaii, but doesn't look like, again, too much of any concern directly for anybody here. Now, we also see, again, this storm system over the areas just north and east of South America. This new area of low pressure from the last few days has been slowly, steadily creeping upwards and will continue, it looks like, to do so as it works its way into more conducive environments for developing. It doesn't look like much right now, and there's high pressure back to the north, which is kind of helping to keep this well down to the south. Now, over the next few days, this high pressure scoots east. This will allow the storm to curve a little farther to the northwest, which means around Puerto Rico, Hispaniola, the Leeward Islands, back up toward the Bahamas, Florida. In the next several days, the expected area of where this is going to be going towards is right into around southeastern United States and back around Florida. So we do see some threat here. Now, whether or not that could make its way into the Gulf, that is still a bit of a concern. Doesn't look likely at this point, as again, we're looking way into the weekend and early next week as this gets a little closer. The storm has still not developed into any healthy amount of rotation. We're not seeing anything going on here that says this is going to become a very powerful storm. So as of right now, the storm has not received an invest number or an area of investigation designation. So we don't see that just yet, which means we can't give you any spaghetti models to give you an idea as to where in general it's going to be going with more accurate detail. But we do have this, again, from the National Hurricane Center saying a gradual turn to the northwest and good possibility of seeing that storm system develop into something a little bit more healthy into the next several days. So if you're heading toward Florida, if you're going toward anywhere on an ocean-going voyage, the Keys, the Gulf Coast, the East Coast, now would be a good time to pay very close attention to this. According to the National Hurricane Center, development has been slow to occur due to the surrounding dry air that you see around this whole thing. Environmental conditions are forecast to gradually become more conducive over the warmer waters of the southwest Atlantic, and a tropical depression could form late this week while the system is in the vicinity of the Greater Antilles or upwards toward the Bahamas. So this could develop very, very quickly. The dry air surrounding this from the Sahara is doing a good job of sapping its strength, but it is also possible that just like Beryl, if there's enough of a pocket of moisture with dry air surrounding it to the west, north, and east, we might see this develop very, very quickly. And that is why we're telling you about this, to make certain that you are paying attention, because with temperatures like this across the Bahamas, the Caribbean, the Gulf, and into the Atlantic, this again is pure rocket fuel for these storms, especially when they start getting up in the high 80s, where it's bathtub water, where the temperature is again very much on the warm side. That is where we are seeing the danger. It's where these storms could undergo rapid intensification, and you need to be flexible on your vacation travel plans, heading to the beach, heading to the Gulf, heading to the Keys, wherever you're going. If it involves ocean and beach, you really need to pay attention to what's going on. Does that include the Carolinas and upwards into New England? Probably not so much up here, as the colder waters of Cape Cod and southeastern parts of Canada are much colder. A lot of these temperatures are way above normal for this time of the year. Not to mention, if you look at that little stripe right there off the east coast, that's the Gulf Stream. And that can supply an awful lot of warm water for these storms as they head upwards toward the northeastern United States. So while it's not an immediate threat, it is a possibility that we could see a lot of activity with this into the course of the next couple of days, and that is where you really need to be paying attention. So please keep it tuned to News 12, and we'll let you know more about what is going on out there. Island Cove, still some lights off, a lot of problems with and some lightning off in the distance as well, so we're getting a little bit of some storms showing up way on the horizon. We've got a marginal threat of severe weather tomorrow. We've got very hot conditions, very hot and humid into the next several days. Low temperatures at night, not that low, only back in the lower to mid 70s. That's how cool it's going to get, and that's some 20 to 25 degrees above our record low temperatures for this time of the year. So more potential of some outdoor activities getting interfered with by the heat, the humidity, and the thunderstorms. So outdoor activities, managers, coaches, anybody out there who is paying attention to the weather for whatever's going on outside, eyes open and pay attention to what is going on, because you still may be seeing the potential of some more lightning out there. And practicing on the golf course, getting out on the baseball diamond or the football field or the soccer field or the marching band parking lot, you're going to have to watch what goes on with the weather, because again, you don't want to get anybody stuck outside. You have apps, you have people who can stay indoors and monitor the computer. Once a storm system gets within about 10 to 20 miles, it's time to start wrapping things up and heading back inside once again. So again, please pay attention to this for everybody's safety's sake, including your own. So something to think about there. Now, with that being said, today's question for the poll of the day, brought to you by Friend in Roofing, was you take a look at the numbers, the odds of getting struck by lightning. If you're a United States citizen, what is the odds of you getting struck in your lifetime? One in how many? 725, 15,300, 567,000, or 1.1 million? 56% of you said 1.1 million. The actual answer is 15,300. Now, the National Lightning Safety Council puts this a little higher at 20,000, but from Encyclopedia Britannica, from the Centers for Disease Control, they're saying about 15,300, somewhere in there. So, again, it doesn't seem like much. It's pretty high. So, again, your odds of getting struck by lightning are statistically better than winning the Powerball Mega Millions jackpots. So that's why we say get indoors, because you don't want to be taking that risk. It is something that you really want to try to avoid if at all possible. That is something, again, it's just basic lightning safety. So let's be careful out there, and let's keep an eye on what is going on, and just be weather aware in the course of the next several days. Let's take a look real quick. Thank you, friendandroofing.com. Hang on a second, getting an error message there. Okay, that's all taken care of. So, damage reports from tonight. We did manage to get quite a few. Again, we've got more activity down into Georgia, a lot more activity into Georgia, some into Alabama, and everything you're seeing here is, again, reports of what we got in the way of damage. Lots of reports of wind gusts of 60 miles per hour plus, wind damage into parts of northern Georgia. Continuing again to see a lot of that activity. We are not seeing anything in the way of tornadic markers. No reports of funnel clouds, no reports of any tornadoes. And again, hopefully it's staying that way. But for right now, a decent amount of wind damage over portions of the area of the News 12 viewing area, and very close by to a lot of other locations. So we'll be tallying these up. We'll have more coming up on News 12 at 11. And once again, we are seeing a lot of power outages in the area. It's starting to improve a little bit. It was 12,000 in Hamilton County. That is now down to 8,000. It was about 12,000 in Gilmer County, Georgia, now down to 10. It was about 5 in Walker County, Georgia. It's now down to 1,100 folks in Marion, 400 in Sequatchie, 200 in Grundy, Ray, and that's it for there. 700 in Meigs, 3,000 without power over toward Cherokee. So a lot of folks without power tonight, and I know the local authorities are working on that to make certain that everybody is back on power for right now. Once again, if you're just joining us, we do have a severe thunderstorm watch just next door to our viewing area, but we have no indication from the Storm Prediction Center that we are seeing anything new developing. Let me go back to anything here. Okay, still nothing from the Storm Prediction Center. So good news for right now. It is possible that this area could see development of a more organized cluster of storms through about the next couple of hours, through about midnight Eastern time tonight along the stalled boundary, which extends from Nashville through about Middle Tennessee. So it is possible that we could see more of that activity going on into the next couple of hours. So definitely want to keep it tuned to News 12. We'll keep you updated on that. But for right now, it looks like most of the activity, well, we do have one severe thunderstorm warning for Cannon and Rutherford. That was earlier tonight, and now all we have is a flash flood warning, it looks like, for that same area. Lots of lightning coming on through. Let me adjust the camera here real quick and get it back over here, and then we'll start everything back over again. That's where we're seeing the potential for, again, some stronger storms. And while we are seeing some special weather statements in the beige-colored counties there, we're not seeing any more in the way of severe weather, so good news again on that, making its way down to the southeast. We'll continue to monitor this through News 12 at 11. And, of course, Chip Chapman will have more on the forecast coming up bright and early into tomorrow morning. Please don't forget you can follow along on our social media channels. I'm on Instagram, X, Discord, YouTube, Tumblr, Counter Social, Mastodon, and you can catch me for a game of chess on LI Chess and chess.com if you'd like to see more about what's going on there. You can also catch Weather Overtime. If you haven't done yet, download the News 12 app, and you can get to Weather Overtime at any point in time just by paying attention to what's going on with the forecast through the News 12 app. Go to your app store for whatever phone system you have, search WDEF Weather, and you'll be able to find our weather app very easily. And we'll keep you updated as to what's going on through that, as well as many other places as well. Think that should do it for tonight, so we'll turn you back to your regularly scheduled programming for Tuesday evening. We'll keep an eye on those storms and keep you updated through News 12 at 11 and around midnight. And, of course, Chip Chapman will have more on your forecast coming up bright and early tomorrow morning. Questions, concerns, ideas, email address aonic@wdef.com. And you can catch all of our information down at the bottom of the screen, wdef.com/weather. Thanks for joining us for Tuesday evening. I'm Chief Meteorologist Austin Onick. Thanks to everybody on Twitch and YouTube for tuning in. Didn't get any questions tonight, but that's okay. We'll tune back in again to see what else everybody has to say later on. And, of course, I'll have more for you coming up bright and early on Wednesday evening. So stay tuned for more on that with News 12 on air and online.